Hello again, guys. Right, I put up on Twitter a drawing the lines and how I get in the zone video that I created on the 12th of May, and I said it was a part one of that particular video. It's a cable analysis, and I had an emergency with my dog, who has been very unwell for the last month. I think it's almost exactly a month to the day today, actually, that she got knocked over by a car. So she's all right now. She's making a superb recovery, for anyone that is wondering. Anyway, so I never got around to making the second part of that cable monthly, and as it was, I would probably have made this one anyway, to update on what actually happened 2 weeks ago, effectively, 23rd, roughly 10 days ago. So if I put my levels on this chart now, starting on the monthly, we were somewhere up here with a red candle the start of this month, or 12th day of this month, and what I was talking about was the price dropping down. So I had a resistance line, I've just put a support line on that one, but how I draw my lines to get into the zone, if you watch that previous video of this thread, as it were, on Twitter, then you will see anything that may affect the price as it's coming down. So when this had been made, the price, I think, had poked through it, but on the 12th, but it hadn't closed, and that's all important. So this would have been a factor as well in my decision, because this candle had closed below, so that makes this this level here has been breached and broken. Then I would have had the support level of that monthly candle in there, because at this point, and still it's not closed below. It's been tested twice with these two lows here. I would have said about the histogram being very bearish, so we were at the time, and it's still only bearish until the close of this month, because this could still miraculously close green and reverse on itself with a massive great long tail. There isn't a lot more we want to be looking at on this monthly chart. As I say, the histo is telling us it's down. The price has closed down below this level, although the true reversal level is this one. But I do use, and I didn't mention that in the previous video, I do use these because this is a support level that has been broken by this. So what I call this, until this is broken, this is an internal reversal, and we do in fact, we can in fact then target this based on this close here, pullback, continuation. So and this could just as easily be a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute chart, whatever we would use. You can't tell the difference. If you couldn't see that, you wouldn't know what this chart was. And that's the whole beauty of understanding price action. If you understand how these patterns work on the 1-minute time frame, you understand how they work on the monthly time frame. It just takes, obviously, 30 days instead of 1 minute for these candles to do their job, comparing the 1 minute to the monthly, of course. So that's it, and that's why I love this method, because once you learn one time frame, you know them all. What's not to like about that? So yeah, now down to the weekly, and the weekly was up here as well. So we were waiting, if I remember correctly, waiting for a confirmation down on the weekly. Well, we've got that, and look what happened last week when that confirmed down. What do I say? Tests and retests, it came straight back up. So you're already ahead of the game if you understand the process of support and resistance. Support once broken, all of this lot here gets tested as resistance. How much simpler could that be? So, but this is a indication of their the way the big boys are going to take the price, which is we've had a confirmed reversal to the downside. We've broken through all of that support there, all of these candles, months of it, and finally broken through. Test, finally broken through and closed. It's given way. We wait for the pullback, then we wait for the controlled continuation down by just using the same three candlestick patterns that we can use on the monthly, the weekly, the daily, the 4 hourly, the hourly, the half hourly. Everything is the same. I can't stress that enough, guys, and that is why, you know, in my opinion, this method is worth learning. You don't have to worry about anything else except watch the news and stuff when you're on the lower time frames, you know, news articles, how they will affect your price. But in these longer term charts, you can really build a fabulous, strong trading plan. So this is the pullback north. What do I think, mate? Well, what do we want on that chart now? Well, we've got everything we need on there. There's clear space between the next level and the last level on the weekly. This, obviously, when we're on our way down, will cause a small problem. Support of a weekly candle. And I've said this many times when I draw these lines on the charts, don't run away from this immediately looking at this, because if I whip down to the fifth, well, let's go to the hourly. The gaps you've got are massive. You know, the next support level below us is miles away. I know it all looks a bit scary on the weekly, but that is a 64 pip gap. So give it time, guys. Give it the attention, in my opinion, that this deserves, and it will repay you in spades in stress-free trading. Even on this 1 minute chart, 1 hour chart that we've jumped to, we've got a confirmed reversal going on. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs and the particulars of this, but even looking at the histo alert, that hourly, the last hour on that Friday, looks like it has potentially busted through the low of that one, which in itself we'd expect a pullback and then a continuation, but it will probably gap down the end of the week. But double check these when you put your mouse on them. They sometimes read differently. I don't know why that is. 20.56.34 minus 21. So yes, this is closed below there. That is what I call a bust down, then a pullback, then a break and close. That in itself is a good signal for shorts to continue. So again, disclaimer, never trade what I talk about on these, but always trade your own analysis if you like my stuff based on what I'm teaching here. So we go back to the weekly, and then we look at the daily. The weekly, once again, that week has done its bust and break stuff, busted down, pulled back, all of that lot, broken and closed. Then you get the pullback, which is just what I was describing on that hourly. Daily, we confirmed up by the looks of it. High, low, lower, high, lower, low. Reversed on by a low, high, higher, low, higher, high. So we need a new reversal to the daily side. Let's just double check that level. Yes, it has closed up, so we need a new close down. So in order to go any further, we need to close below that, which is brilliant in its own right, because then that means we have a target based on my rules. And the H4, we can attack that daily low there. Let's just highlight it. So H4 is in a swing trend. We can see that high, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, and potentially the pullback has happened. That was the daily low I highlighted. We've got a weekly low that's caused these bounces here that might cause a problem still if the weekly hasn't closed below it. It hasn't. Hang on, that did gap down. Now that is the weekly low, the current week, isn't it, or last week? So we're trading into last week's low. So going back to the H4, and well, we're definitely conf down, and we've got a trend going down as well. That's those falling daily candles, and everything's looking good to the short side with the histo. We've even broken that recent H4 low there, so we've got high, low, lower, high, lower, low. That's the H4 confirmation. This looks like the pullback. It's failed to reverse on H4, so we're not worried about that. So this looks like now we're basing our trade on H1, which I talked about earlier. So I'm not going to go into any more detail about this, other than the fact that the previous video we were way up here, 12th of May. Let's look where we were. So we opened here on the 13th. As you can see, price continued on down from that previous video I was talking about with the lines, down 157 pips thereabouts, and we've just had a pullback now, which is what we would have predicted on that previous video, and now we were continuing down again. So you know, this is how we draw our lines, guys. I scalp for 5 or 6 pips, sometimes 10, 15 or 20, whatever the gaps will give me, and that's what I'm all about. So if you've got any questions about what I do on the charts, just about the charts please, nothing else, and then I will happily answer them. I suggest you go and look at a lot of my other videos if you're new to what I do, and get a feel for what goes on. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Weekend even, it's a bank holiday, so not much about trading wise tomorrow, unless the Asian session's going to be open. We shall see.